How does it fit into your overall operating model, Tabelo? I mean, is it something that should be developed in conjunction with your overall business strategy?
I think in South Africa, business has not yet developed procurement in such a way it becomes a strategic division in an organization. So just coming to those role plays that company needs to know the commodities. Sometimes we differentiate procurement into commodities rather than just buying as you want. So if the company can organize their products according to commodities, you know how effective your procurement is going to be in terms of cost saving and spending in the organization. Otherwise, everyone buys as he wills.
Andrew, is this something for every company? Are we looking at companies across the board, regardless of size? Should they all have a decent procurement strategy in place?
Absolutely. Wherever there are people spending money, these are what we call spend managers. We should have at least some kind of investment into these people. So every company needs to look after their input costs. Pricing pressures from the depression or the recession, whatever we call it, are really putting pressures on companies. And then, of course, there are ever increasing pressures to take care of those input costs. And what we've noticed is that to be able for procurement departments now to become successful, they need to get into the boardroom. They need to market themselves. They need to sell themselves as procurement divisions, get themselves on the CEO's agenda so that the boardroom can see that there is real value in what they provide. They need to be able to show their character now, especially in these times, and show the business what they're capable of as procurement professionals.
Mm-hmm. Well, if a procurement strategy is so important, surely the board and the CEO should be driving this strategy.
Absolutely. I think we're seeing many more organisations in South Africa, right from financial services through to the energy sector, the mining houses, all looking at putting a supply chain and or procurement executive at the board level. I think that one of the things we're also seeing, to the point about operating models, is that a number of companies across all of the industries have run very federated models and very decentralized procurement. And in order to get the benefits of securing the supply, managing your spend, your categories, we're seeing that organizations are starting to move their operating models much more to a center-led type organization. And that said, they're also looking for opportunities to create what shared services functions, where all of the different business units and or stores or banking, retail sites, whatever they might be, can benefit from the enterprise view of procurement and of sourcing.
Mm-hmm. Well, Chris, sorry?
Yeah, maybe one thing to add, if we link business strategy to procurement strategy, because as we recognize in the discussion here, there is clearly that link. Just to put an example forward, if your business strategy is to move in different parts of the world, or to, for example, start doing contract manufacturing way more like is happening in the pharmaceutical industry, these are all things that have an incredible impact on the money that you spend. It has an incredible impact on your suppliers. It has an impact on where your procurement people should be. So it's actually of real importance to have that link between a business strategy and a procurement strategy. It's also one of the areas where we see that link often is not there. And that's where procurement organizations start struggling to be really board relevant, make sure that they are aligned with the strategy of the company, and that everybody, all the internal stakeholders, the business units, properly recognize them. It actually starts at the top of strategic alignment.
Well, Tabelo, if that link isn't there between business strategy and procurement strategy, how do you get it there?
I think one of the key issues procurement people in the organization must lobby the position in order that the procurement strategy must be aligned to the business strategy. Otherwise, there's misalignment. Those people in procurement won't be able to lead to the effectiveness of how the vision of the company will impact on the procurement issues. Because I think there are a lot of studies that show that each and every rand that you spend, almost 50% goes to the suppliers. So if there's misalignment, the procurement people won't be able to align their division to the company strategy. Hence the importance that it should be driven from the top rather than from the bottom up in terms of driving the procurement.
Well, how do you introduce this new procurement function without disrupting your organization, Andrew?
I think, just following on from what my colleagues have said, we've established that procurement function is important in every organization. We're finding that more and more companies are becoming cross-cultural. They are building facilities offshore. And so to be able to introduce this into the organization, the board level, the executives need to understand that there are opportunities, that there is value that can be created in a procurement function. And people that are at the grassroots level, taking responsibility for buying or procurement, should make the efforts to sell and market themselves within the organization. Being able to build the skills that they need to be able to operate at those levels and cross-functionally and cross-culturally to become leaders in the procurement environment within the organizations.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the recent downturn and the economic crisis has actually played in the procurement professions to our advantage, because there's been such a huge amount of focus on what an organisation actually spends on the SG&A costs, and procurement really does offer one of the most impactful areas to really review what you spend and what monies you can possibly take out of your company's balance sheet. And I think that that's given us a nice lift and a nice focus with respect to where procurement should sit within the business strategy of an organisation.
Well, after the break, we're going to be discussing a little bit more just on the economic crisis and how this actually could be an opportunity for companies to enhance their procurement functions.